Hello, Queens. How are you doing today? Well, this is Monday. Happy Monday, Queens. Well, I've got a thought for you to consider today. You know that expression, go where you are celebrated, but not where you are tolerated? And I realized that sometimes we get so caught up in being celebrated that we don't get out of our comfort zone. And sometimes when you wait until the celebration comes, you will never step into what you're supposed to be doing. Someone said to me recently, "Oh, aren't you doing the podcasts anymore?" Now, I believe what they were talking about was those times when I would do the, I would call it pre-recorded sessions, pre-recorded stuff that we'd put out on YouTube, and I'd talk about some principle and all of that. And it was beautiful, but it took a lot of time. Now, hear this. There would be the time to record, and because I wasn't doing it live, it kind of felt very odd to make mistakes. Meaning, if I fumbled over my words and I wasn't live, you would kind of have to go back and redo it again to get it right. And otherwise, you could be doing that over and over because that kind of way, I've made that same stupid mistake again, that sort of thing. And for those of you who did the certificate in government and political leadership program with me, you know about the mel, and that mel used to come out strong. That's not my strong one, but it used to come out strong with stuff like that because I want to do things right and I want to do it with excellence. But when you're doing live, like if I'm doing live and I fumbled over a word, or the clock went off, let's try get this before it does. Oh brother, it's gonna go off in a minute, so let me stop it before it does. Okay, just bear with me and hope it doesn't do that dingy. But you can make more mistakes or have more freedom when you're live than when you're recording. So I'd have to do these recordings and do it over and over again. Then there would be the editing of the video, and you're trying to get the stuff on the screen, and you'd have to do all of this other stuff. And then I'd have to think about what kind of thumbnail that could bring them in. And it was just a whole lot, and it took up a lot of time. And because of how YouTube, for example, was, sometimes it wasn't even much people seeing it. And so you've put all this effort into something and nobody sees it. And it was very frustrating. And I know that things take time to develop. So that wasn't really the issue. What was the issue for me is that spending so much time working on something that only a few people saw, and sometimes it was only because I reminded them that this video was coming out this once a week. Oh, here's the video, that they watched it. But it was like it was being hidden, if you could say it like that, from other people, possibly because it was politics, who knows. And possibly that's why sometimes you don't even always get the notifications about these videos that are in the group. But that's another thing. So I had been thinking about it in the past. Someone said, "Oh, you need to get on the camera and all of that more and more." And I said, to do that is taking up more time than I have. And I've come to a place where I have to make a distinction between being celebrated by a few people who are like, "Oh, that was a good one. That was a good one, Lisa. That was a good one." And having the impact that I need to have. Because was I actually impacting the people through social media? Were these people actually willing to go to the next level? Like some of you, you actually gone to the next level with me in so many different ways. You've gone to the next level with me in things that we've done with Kingdom Women in Politics that was specifically some additional training. Some of you have gone through certificate in government and political leadership. Some of you might have gone through the Leadership Excellence Accelerator program. In other words, you weren't just willing to consume and go, just like it happens in sometimes church circles. Oh, that was a good word. You were willing to go the next level in terms of your own development. You were willing to step out of your own comfort zone of just consuming and now taking a course that was going to more hold you accountable, whether it was in showing up, whether it was in assignments, whether it was what you had to do if, like, for the Leadership Excellence Accelerator program, what you had to do in terms of the preparation for the sessions, being in the session, how to work with the person who was assigned to you as your peer mentor so that you could really get the benefit out of it. And I'm thinking, a momentary celebration or greater impact for the longer term. And so, what I wanted to encourage you today is don't spend your time looking for just that celebration, looking for that validation to say, I'm in the right thing. And I'm not saying that there's not a place for that. I'm not saying there's not a place for validation, because there's a human side of us that would like to have that, and that's okay. But that should not be the thing that drives us to do what we're supposed to do. That should not be the thing that is giving us the motivation that says, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. And sometimes you have to make these trade-offs. Where am I? Where does this part align with moving me further into my vision? And where does this part align with moving me further into my vision? Am I being, and this is me who had even grown up in church, am I being celebrated momentarily by a few when I'm supposed to be impacting more? And in my process of impacting more, maybe that bigger group doesn't yet know my name. But if I'm going to impact them, it means this momentary celebration is actually taking me away from what the vision requires. Does that make sense to you? So we could be focusing on the celebration and not the vision. So the celebration can keep you stuck. The celebration can keep you limited. The celebration can even make you miss your vision. But if you step out of that comfort zone into where this is where I'm supposed to actually be impacting nations, if you want to say it like that, this is where I'm supposed to be impacting more people, and this side is more aligned with my vision than if I get X amount of likes, if I even get X amount of views on social media. Now, if the social media is a part of the vision for what you're supposed to do, because your impact is there for part of that vision, then you got to stick it out because it aligns with what you want to do, what you're supposed to be doing. Okay, do that. But if this part is really where you're supposed to be having the impact, but you're afraid to move here because people here got to get to know your name, so it's safe and it's comfortable to stay here, be careful. So we got two things happening with me and Lance. One is the part that Lance is working on, which is the politics and principles videos, and he brings up takes on a, what do you call it, current affair matter. Yes, a lot of it is focused around the UK, but some of it brings in the US, and some of it might be dealing with a comparison between the UK and the US, or where they may have some kind of working together. But a lot of it is UK. But the benefit of it is, if people would listen, he's addressing principles as well. So he puts the current affairs thing in, which can sometimes be quite dramatic. Hey, it's what it is, okay? It's politics. But then he brings principles into it. Now that is something that is posted on YouTube for right now. That's the YouTube thing. He enjoys doing it, which is beautiful, and it's a part of the vision of impacting um, the people in the nation, and even out and further afield. And it's a part of that vision of impacting them and bringing them into an understanding of how to look at government and political leadership. So whether he is celebrated or not, this is the part that needs to be done. It's trying to learn how to navigate that field of social media more. Beautiful. Good. How to work through YouTube craziness, okay? Because it's talking politics. And you're not talking the politics they want to hear. Okay. So there's that side. But the person that asked me was asking me about the Kenley College side. And the Kenley College side is actually supposed to be more impacting the nations. It's actually supposed to be more impacting governments. Oh, now, before, it wasn't in my comfort zone to go heavy into that, to take Kenley College into that world. It was in my comfort zone to stick with the people who knew my name, the people who knew that I would teach it from a principal's perspective. It was comfortable there. Got it? And so, even when I was doing the YouTube podcast, as they were calling it, because it was kind of, you could say, sort of ish. When I was doing that, I knew that it was more impacting that niche group. But was that all that God wanted? Or was I supposed to actually be stepping into the government space and impacting government, impacting political parties at a different level? So, more the organizational. So, it was not so comfortable because I couldn't necessarily rely on my go to people who I love teaching because I know them and their desire. I know you and your desire to go to the next level. I know you want this. I know you love to hear the principles, learn the principles. How does this apply in politics? Like this is good stuff. I understand all of that. But I want you to take the lesson from me and look at you. Are you so focused on where you're celebrated that you aren't getting outside of the comfort zone of that celebration place and going into another place? See, people like Abraham, they had to move outside of their celebration place. They had to go where nobody knew their name. What about you? Do you have to, if you are going to be true to the vision that God has called you, step into a place where nobody knows your name? And how can people celebrate you yet, if they don't know your name? Okay? So that's just something to think about as you go into it still happened. Something to think about as you go into this week. Am I going to stick with where I'm being celebrated, which is beautiful, or am I going to step into the harder place of going where nobody knows my name until they do? Because that is where I'm supposed to be. Just like Abraham, he had to get where he was supposed to be. And in fact, it wasn't just that nobody knew his name. It was that his very name was going to change. Your very title might change because you had the courage to step out of the comfort zone where everybody knows your name and step into the unknown place where nobody knows your name yet. But when they get to know your name, God's already changed it. He's changed your title, He's changed your position. And for some of you, that definitely will mean changing your location, whether it is geographical location, whether it is job location, whether it is career, however you want to talk about it, whether it is getting into a specific area of government and politics. You may need to go where nobody knows your name yet. Okay? Now, I do have something else I want to mention to you, or I want to ask a question. So I am thinking of doing another live online live training for the Leadership Excellence Accelerator program. It has now been accredited, which is beautiful. So we can go bigger with it in terms of getting it out there. But again, this one is the putting it out to probably people in my contacts until it's more known. But this is going to be something that we are going to be taking into governments, and we're taking into political parties. So it's the Leadership Excellence Accelerator Program, LEAP. Some of you did that the first one with me, and we tweaked it, we've updated a lot based on that. And going through that accreditation process was actually very good too, to see where the areas that needed to be plugged in to strengthen it. So I am thinking of doing one in October. I don't know, for those of you who haven't done it yet, or if you did it before and you want to come back and do it again, that's fine. But I want to do it in October, and I'm thinking two possible days, not two possible days, meaning should I do it on the Wednesdays or should I do it on a Saturday morning, 9, it'll be 9 a.m. Eastern. Let me know what you think for yourself. It's going to be open to other people. It's not just for us. There's some people who have been contacting me about the certificate in government and political leadership, and that might be outside of their price point right now. So this would be a good introduction to get them into it as well. Uh, for the Leadership Excellence Accelerator program, it's a 6-week course. It's live online. It's beautiful. Oh gosh, I sounded like Trump just now. But anyway, it's a very good course. That's not just because I did it, it's because it was one of those things where I wanted to do something that stretched people. Like, I teach the principles, I love that. And I know that a lot of you love that. But with that one, it was stretching you because it was, how do we actually implement the principles? Because I realized that some of the people, even those, this is not a kingdom course, as in outright in your face, kingdom course. It's a very practical course for people in government and politics. But I had realized that people were enjoying concepts, but sometimes they didn't know how to implement. So they knew they were supposed to manage, they knew they were supposed to have integrity, those kinds of things. They knew they're supposed to be accountable. But what does that look practically like? How is that practically shown? And so this course is about that. It's about putting in, showing you how to do it practically, even where you are, regardless of what level you are, regardless of your entry point into government, regardless if you've been in this thing and you're a more seasoned person. So that is what that is about. So please give me I'll put a poll as well for this. I've never done a poll on this thing before, but I'll try and do a poll to just see where people feel would be a better fit for them. I'm not saying I'm going to be able to go with your fit, okay? There's a lot going on for me as well, but I just want to get an idea. Okay? All right, Queens, you have a wonderful rest of the week. Bye bye.